pleasure.
One person who's not moving in, of course, is Kamala Harris. No. She has, though, vowed to keep fighting following her defeat to Donald Trump as she was talking to crowds in Washington, D.C.
The outcome of this election is not what we wanted, not what we fought for, not what we voted for, but hear me when I say, the light of America's promise will always burn bright.
Well, this comes as President Joe Biden paid tribute to Kamala Harris, describing her as a tremendous partner full of integrity.
Well, meanwhile, the Trump team celebrated through the night after what's been called the greatest comeback in political history.
Everybody, and it was beautiful. It was a historic realignment, uniting citizens of all backgrounds around a common core of common sense. You know, we're the party of common sense.
Well, this comes as a Snap poll revealed almost 60% of Britons feel unhappy about the result, as the world waits to see how Trump's second presidency will unfold.
Well, it's been an interesting election campaign, and part of that, of course, was Elon Musk getting stuck into all of this. I mean, going on some of the rallies, there's giving millions of dollars away, but really backing Donald Trump. And, of course, is that going to mean he's going to perform some part of the administration? It's certainly a possibility. Well, let's talk to his dad, Errol, who's in Cape Town this morning. Really good to see you. Thank you for your time. What do you make of Elon's role in all of this?
Well, you know, Elon was, I would say, the turning point for Trump's election. You know, we've been trying very hard to get America back on the rails and away from the directions in which it has been going, which, as you probably read, about 80% of the people in America are of the opinion that the United States is on the wrong way, along the wrong road.
Mm. Your son's journey has been fascinating, hasn't it? Because he was a Democrat previously, and he's now become the right-hand man of Trump, posting all over X in recent months. He's been central to the campaign. What do you think has swayed him to back Trump?
Well, yes, a few years ago, you know, he was supporting the Democrat side, mainly because if you come from South Africa as a white person, you know, you automatically there, you know, sort of try to decry your South African roots as a white person, you know. So all my children have had to do that, and it's wrong, really, but that's what they've had to do. But in the last few years, he has, you know, seen the light, you might say, and he's seen that the direction in which the United States is going is wrong. And so he's thrown his weight behind common sense, I would say. You know, he's not a far-right person. Elon is dead center. And, you know, this far-right stuff is rubbish. You know, it's like your protesters there were described as far-right. No, they were normal people just protesting about legitimate grievances.
I mean, what is interesting is I can see the similarities between Donald J and Elon in this. I mean, you look at Elon being interviewed, and sometimes it is very awkward because he will cut a question dead, won't he, with this sort of common sense approach, and just say, well, why is that wrong? Why shouldn't we be doing this on X or whatever the subject matter is? I mean, that real clear talking, do you think he will do that with Trump?
Yes. I mean, you know, sometimes, well, you know, I don't think he has a problem explaining things to Trump. Trump's a businessman, and we are business people. Business people are the people that make the world run. So, you know, we see things going well, we don't do anything. We see things going wrong, we start to realize we have to get involved in what ultimately is a very boring line of work, and that is politics. So, yeah, no, at times it's very difficult to explain to, you know, the left or woke left or whatever it is, you know, because they don't seem to have the capacity to understand. But we see that America is going to need to go on a new direction. And, of course, this is only the beginning. This is not the end. The election of Trump is not suddenly the end of the story. No, this is only the beginning of the story.
I was reading an article this morning that says that this honeymoon period that we're seeing between Elon Musk and Donald Trump is not going to last very long, predicting a fallout between them before the 4-year term is over, because quite frankly, you can't have two main characters at a time. What do you think about that?
No. Well, that's pure conjecture. I don't believe there's any truth in that. That's just your idea. No, it's not true at all.
Is there going to be an official role, do you think, for Elon?
Well, Elon is very busy. So obviously, we know with a couple of 100,000 employees and tremendous responsibilities on his hands, he's not able to go and sit in an office somewhere where, like, the typical politician type or bureaucrat and sit and do nothing all day. No, he has to do his work, and he will probably serve as a consultant, on issues that are more important. So when an issue that is more important comes up, you'll find that they will get hold of him and ask for his input.
Your son is the world's richest man, one of the most famous men in the world now, right-hand man of Donald Trump now as well. You must be so proud of him.
Well, people say that to me, but I was proud of all my children the day they were born. Oh. A parent isn't proud. That's a silly thing to say. No. I'm pleased with their progress. Very pleased with all of their progress, not just Elon. And, that's the role of a parent. I'm proud is silly, a silly word.
Again, this might sound very silly then. Can you or do you even try, or does he need to have his feet kept on the ground? I know, it's a very different ball game for me, but my folks make sure that my feet never leave the ground. That must be quite difficult with the world's richest man.
Well, he's very grounded. The problems you have in business and running businesses every day. Yesterday you may have been on top of the world. The moment you come into work the next day, you're surrounded by many problems, and so you don't actually feel you're on top of the world anymore. You have to get stuck in and try and solve them, and and that's what actually I suppose makes it interesting. No, there's no sitting back and that. As I said, this is the beginning. This is the beginning. We have to see where this goes now. I have people from England, who contact me and ask me please to have Elon help them to regain freedom of speech and such like in England. What's going on in England is not right. England is trying to tax itself out of hard times. You can't tax yourself out of hard times. You taxing yourself out of hard times is like a lazy man living on his mother's savings. No, you need to work. You need to cut your costs and work your way out of hard times. This Starmer guy doesn't seem to understand that.
What is interesting from that, and I know, people and politicians will argue, well, you can't necessarily compare directly business and politics, and they've got a point to an extent. However, what strikes me is when Elon bought Twitter. And obviously there was a lot of problems. He moved in, didn't he? He moved into the headquarters. He was working, I don't know, what, sort of 18, 19, 20 hours a day. Whether people like him or not, he's a worker.
Well, yes, in Twitter, X, he gave the work to my brother's sons to do the trimming of Twitter or X because he obviously didn't have time. So all the cutting of staff and stuff was done by my brother's elder son, James, so he runs that side of things.
Was it obvious to you when Elon was growing up that he was different, that he was special, that he was going to go on to do all of these huge things?
Well, he was always a very bright kid. So, I was just always hoping that they would be able to earn a living for themselves. That, I suppose, was my main concern. I think as a parent, I have been surprised by their progress, all of them, not just Elon. Their progress is extraordinary, and I put it down to the fact that we're a family that has a sort of academic work ethic. We feel we can't sit down and have a good time. We need to be making every day count for itself, and all that sort of thing. It's a sort of thing about us. We never had gap years or gap weekends even. We really sort of just keep working away, trying to, once you get one thing succeeded, you just leave it and start with the next thing,
Yeah, right. It's fascinating.
It is.
He's a fascinating man, and it's great to talk to you. The only thing I will say to you, Errol, is that if he ever has a spare seat going on the Dragon capsule, you know, and you need someone to fill it, put my name forward, would you? I'd love to do a bit of that.
You'd like to go?
Oh, I'd love to. That would be a dream come true, to do something like that.
All right, well, we'll send you on the top of the next one, you know.
I'd rather be on the inside, but I'll take any.
You'll have a good time for a few seconds, you know.
Yeah, you would do, yeah. Errol, really good to talk to you. Thanks very much.
Okay,
indeed.
thank you.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
It's fascinating.
Yes.
Fascinating. Elon can be very unpopular. Some people don't like him. Controversial.
Yeah.
But when you watch some of the interviews, and I've watched a few where he's been, people really sort of challenge him on stuff, and his responses are very interesting because they're clean cut. And it's like proper straight answers. And it's very hard to argue against that. And as an interviewer, that's our job, to argue against what anyone says. And it's very, very hard to do it. Incredible man.
And I think it's fascinating talking to parents of anyone, because you can see the person and how they became that way. I mean, his dad he talks about work ethic, doesn't he? He doesn't get into, you know, the sentimentals and pride. He's like, that's silly. All of that's silly. I mean...
No,
Fascinating.
the work ethic is something, and I think there's a lot. We can't all work like Elon Musk. I mean, the man's a machine as far as that goes. However, it's a good message, isn't it, for people who don't work hard, and the people. I mean, I don't mind admitting that I can be a bit lazy at times.
You always say that about yourself. I do.
I do get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Maybe I deserve to be a little bit lazy, but you have to. You know, that work ethic. That needs to be pumped through to every young person at the minute going into...
lots of people would agree with you with that one.
You know, if you want all these things, you can achieve anything, is what we tell young people these days, but you can achieve anything if you work hard enough.
Yeah, good message.